Transforming your relationship every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's all about loving on purpose and the challenges that face us and how our relationship can be transformed. Are you feeling stuck in life or a loveless marriage? Let's journey together as you discover clarity, purpose, and fulfillment in life. I'm Bonitto Grange, your relationship and life coach. Why suffer in silence when help is right here? Let's connect for a 30 minutes complimentary session at www.tlcbonittogrange.com or right here on HGG Radio. Talk to you soon. God bless. Transforming your relationship. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're all about. Always trying to do better, get better, show up better, just building a stronger relationship from day to day. I'm your host, Bonitto Grange, again here with you today. And interesting topic that I have on my heart, on my mind is wisdom at the head and peace in the home. I think we talked a little bit about wisdom here a bit in the past, but we're just going to dive into maybe just a little bit more here today. So, when Solomon stood before God, he didn't ask for riches, long life, or power. He asked for wisdom. That's in the book of 1 Kings chapter 3. What if every husband today made the same request and asking for wisdom? We're just going to dive into that. What would happen if every husband prayed that same prayer and asked for wisdom? Not, Lord, make me successful. Not, Lord, increase my income. But, Lord, give me wisdom to lead my household. So in this episode that we're doing here, we're going to explain just a little bit why wisdom, not dominance, not money nor status, is a true foundation of a thriving home. Because leadership in marriage is not about control. Husband, it's never about control. It's about clarity. It's not about authority. It's about responsibility. And without wisdom, every good intention can damage what God designed to flourish. So this message is for a husband. Husband, you can pull up your chair just for a little bit here, who desire to lead with strength and humility. And for wives who are praying for godly leadership in their homes. Because when a man asks God for wisdom, heaven has got to respond. Families will flourish. We will draw closer to God than we have ever done before. And it's interesting because as we get older, myself included here, I've been asking for wisdom every single day, wisdom how to lead my home, just wisdom in the things that I say, wisdom in how I show up. So before we know wealth, before even Solomon became great, before the kingdom even flourished, he prayed one prayer. He stood before the Lord and said, give me wisdom to lead your people. Wisdom, it's a husband's greatest asset. How prayer will strengthen that leadership, and how one man seeking God can change the atmosphere of an entire home. Husband, this is your call upward. This is your call forward. Wives, this is for your encouragement. So let's talk a little bit about prayer that builds strong family. I love the book of Ecclesiastes. As we all know, Solomon was the one that has been ascribed to have written that book. So many life lessons that the wisest man on the planet that ever lived, he wrote some things about life that he learned. And I would imagine if he had to do it all over again, how different his life could have been more spiritually. Because as time goes on, as one gain wealth and knowledge, if you're not careful, that can cause you to entertain pride. It can be one of your downfall. Wisdom and knowledge, it can be one of your downfall if we don't ask God and depend on God to help us in managing what He has called us to do. But one thing I admire about Solomon is that this man never fought to usurp the throne. It was promised to him by God, and his father was the one that made sure that things was done in order. It was prophesied that the son David was going to have, that he was going to be king. And Solomon had a brother, Adonijah. His brother was claiming kingship, although God didn't approve of him. He went around telling the different individuals and the cities that he was king, and now he's the king. But he just wasn't the man for the throne. And I believe Solomon knew about this and heard about this, but he just held his peace. I believe that when it comes to a man that knows God and is aspiring to be the man that God wants him to be, you just got to sometimes just hold your peace and let God fight your battle. Because what is for you is for you. And when God bless you and set you up, I dare any man to take you down. And if by any chance you do end up coming down, or you do end up falling from where you were once placed or being dismissed, could it be that God has something better inside for you that you have not even seen before? So Solomon asked for something that spearheaded his reign. He waited on God until God brought him to a place where God visited him in a dream. But he asked for something, but before he even asked for something, David already mentioned something over his life in First Chronicles 22, verse 11 to 12. David says, "Now, my son, the Lord be with thee and prosper thee, and build the house of the Lord thy God as he had said of thee." He said, "Only the Lord give thee wisdom and understanding, and give thee charge concerning Israel, that thou mayest keep the law of the Lord thy God." So before he even asked for wisdom and understanding, David already prayed for that for his son that was going to reign. And that's a beautiful lesson for us to pray for our children, that God will give them, that God will bless them, not with riches and not with silver and gold, not with just a fine job, but God will give them wisdom. So he didn't ask for wisdom only, but he asked for a discerning heart. What would it benefit a man if he has wisdom but no discernment? You have wisdom, but you don't know when to speak. You have wisdom, but you don't know how to hold your tongue. You have wisdom, but you flare up at every and anything. So what good is it to have wisdom without discernment? He asked for wisdom and he asked for discernment. There are at least, I'm told, four types of wealth. You have financial wealth, you have social wealth, you have time wealth where you have a lot of freedom, and you have physical health. But he didn't ask for any of these. Humility was the leader of his request. He asked for wisdom because his daddy already prayed for him that God would give him wisdom to rule the people. So when God asked him now, what do you want from me? It was already in his DNA. The seed was already planted, and he basically repeated now what his father had prayed and blessed him with. Wisdom at the head, peace in the home. By the way, that's my topic. Wisdom at the head brings peace in the home. So why did God ask, what do you want, Solomon? First of all, God will ask us certain questions to see what is in our heart. He already knows what's in your heart, but do you really know what's in your heart? Because the Bible lets us know that the heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it? So God wanted to know, okay, Solomon, I'm asking you for this. And I have a blank check here, but I want to know what is in your heart. He didn't ask for long life. He didn't ask for riches. He didn't ask for death over his enemies, but he asked for wisdom and a discerning heart. And the Bible said that God granted him wisdom along with wealth and with honor. And you can read in 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 5 down to verse 8. In Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, "Ask what I shall give thee." I wonder if God appeared to you in a dream tonight. Well, those that you are listening now, you'll know what to say. God, give me wisdom, give me discernment, because if you ask for that, maybe he'll give you wealth also. Maybe he'll give you that wife that you're looking for. Maybe he'll give you that car that you want to drive, whatever the case might be. But if he stood by you tonight and asked you, what is it that you want that I can give you? Because he wants to know what's in your heart. And one thing about this God that we serve, you can't fool him, so don't try. Okay? But Solomon said, Lord, you know what? You have showed unto thy servant David, my father, great mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart with thee. Thou hast kept him this great kindness. Thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne as it is this day. You see what Solomon is doing? He's reflecting on what God had done to his father, and he's wanting some of the same. But he said, and now, O Lord, 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 7. And now, O Lord, my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David, my father. And I am a little child, a big man, confessing to be a little child. I know not how to go out or to come in. And thy servant is in the midst of this people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for a multitude. In verse 9, he says, Give therefore thy servant an understanding, a heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this great people that you have given to me? The Bible said that in verse 10, and the speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked this thing. And look what God said back to him. Now God said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for long life, neither have asked for riches for thyself, nor have asked the life of thy enemies, but have asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. God says, behold, I have done according to your word. I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. And as you know, exactly what God says, nobody has risen after Solomon that accumulated wealth and was as wise as this man Solomon. And I have given thee which thou hast not asked, both riches, I love that part, right? We all do, and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee in all thy days. But there was a condition to wisdom. There was a condition to discernment. There was a condition to wealth. There was a condition to health. And that was now placed in verse 14, where God says, if thou wilt walk now in my way, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days. You know, God will bless each and every one of us, but there's always a condition to his blessing. There's always a condition. I'll give you this, but there is some things that you will have to do in order to get this. We're talking about today, wisdom at the head will bring peace in the home. Give me wisdom, the prayer that every husband should pray. Give me wisdom. A husband should absolutely pray for wisdom and discernment, just as Solomon did. Scriptures makes it clear that leadership in any sphere, whether you're leading a nation, whether you're leading your home, whether you are a supervisor or boss on your job, ask God for wisdom and allow God to lead you. Because he called to lead. As husbands, we are called to lead. Yes, we are, because the Bible said in Ephesians 5:23, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the home. Biblical leadership is not dominance. We're not controlling our wife. We're not controlling our children. It's a Christ-like sacrificial leadership. That kind of leadership, it cannot be done with human strength. It requires divine wisdom. There's some situation that comes up within your life as a husband, as a family, and you just don't know how to go around it. How about grabbing your spouse's hand? How about you coming together and pray together and let the Lord know, God, you know the situation that we are in right now. We're asking you, give us wisdom, God. Give us that spiritual discernment that we might know how to lead. Give us that wisdom that we might have to make that right decision. As a husband, asking for wisdom, but you must love sacrificially. Ephesians 5:25 says, husband, you must love your wife. You know, to be Christ-like requires not just wisdom that you're asking for, but it requires patience as Christ had. It requires self-control as Christ had. It requires spiritual clarity as Christ had. It also requires emotional maturity. You know, these are fruits that's walking with God These are not just natural instincts. You can read so many things out of a book, and you can get a lot of knowledge from a lot of different books that out there. But I want the wisdom of God. I want the wisdom of God, because He is a man that is a head, peace in the home. He's accountable before God. In Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 17, it talks about the preacher, the pastor. They're keeping a watch over your souls as those who will have to give an account. Well, it's no different also from a husband. Husbands, you can put yourself in that verse, because God has given you a position of a responsibility. He's given you a position as an accountability. So you are accountable for those that God has placed in your home. As the head of the home, ask God for wisdom, because wisdom will protect a household. In Proverbs 24, verse 3-4, it says, by wisdom, this is interesting, by wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding, it is established. By knowledge, the rooms are filled with the precious, all precious and pleasant riches, wisdom. A home is not strengthened just by income alone, but it's built by wisdom, and it's built by discernment. We're talking about wisdom at the head, peace in the home. God invites us to ask for wisdom. James 1 and 5, and I prayed this prayer so many times. I'm still trying to get there, okay? We're all a work in progress. James 1 and 5, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. God is not going to rebuke us for asking for wisdom. He said, if you ask for that, God, I'm not asking for land. I'm not asking for riches. I'm not asking for a better job. I'm not asking for more income so when I retire, I can live a lavish life. I'm asking you for wisdom. If any of you out there that's hearing my voice lacking wisdom in leadership, let him ask God. And God says, I will give it to you generously. Now that's interesting. He's not going to give it just sporadically, but he said, I'm going to give it to you generously. Wisdom at the head, peace in the home. Why does it matter? Because a husband will face decision in his household. He will face decision about finances. He will face decision about how to discipline his children. Many of us that have sons and daughters, many of us probably never read a manual of how to raise, and something that's not even in the manual. You got to ask God for wisdom how to deal with certain things. So a husband will face decision, and that's why the husband, if at all individuals in the home, must ask God for wisdom, for spiritual direction. When it comes to conflict resolution, he needs wisdom of how to maneuver around that, wisdom how to deal with this issue, wisdom how to protect his family, protect his home. In the choices that he makes, a husband has got to ask God for wisdom. Because when wisdom is at the head, there will be peace in the home. Without wisdom and spiritual discernment, you can lead just off of your emotion. You can lead impulsively. You can lead selfishly. But if you ask for wisdom, God will give it to you generously. I dare you to ask for wisdom today. As James says, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask for it. It will allow you to have that spirit of humility. It will allow you to be more prayerful. It will allow you to study more and to know more about the word of God. Just as Solomon recognized his limitations when God came to him. He saw how his father ruled the great nation that God had placed in his hand. And he recognized, God, I am limited. I can't be like my father. I can take some good examples that my father had, but my father has prayed for me to have wisdom of how to lead his people. And so I'm asking you, God, to give me wisdom and also give me discernment. He recognized his limitation, that I can't rule by my natural ability. I can't rule by the education. He was in the king's palace, so he was a man that was well educated. I can't lead with my limitation, God. I am limited. And a husband's got to recognize, as being called as a leader in the home, that he is limited. A godly husband must recognize his need for divine help, that God is my help. He's the source of my strength. I cannot do anything without him. So I'm asking every husband out there under my voice, when you pray today, no matter what is going on in your home, some things could have been done better. We've made decisions in the past that could have been a better decision, but that's the past. Acknowledge where you are today. Let the Lord know where you are today, and let God know today, God, as of today and every day moving forward, I'm going to ask you for wisdom. And God, I want you to give it to me generously, just like you mentioned in your word. A single prayer a husband could pray: Lord, I am not sufficient of my own. Give me wisdom to lead, but not just to lead, but to lead with humility, knowing that I'm not of my own. I'm called in this position. I want you to give me discernment of spirit that I can make the right decisions. Give me a heart that will love you. Guard my home, guard my tongue, guard my steps. Let my steps, Lord, be ordered by the Lord, as David says. Let my steps be ordered, God. I just don't want to go anywhere where I just feel like going, but give me wisdom and discernment to know how to lead, to know when to go, to know when to move forward, to know when to stop, to know when to turn to the right, to know when to turn to the left. I want to give me a heart that will love you, a heart that is faithful, a heart that will take responsibility for those that you have placed in my life. That's a prayer for every husband. My topic today: wisdom at the head, peace in the home. I'm praying for every husband out there that God will grant you wisdom, because once God deposit that in your spirit, there is going to be peace in the home. Claim peace in your home, no matter what is going on, no matter how much of a turmoil your house is in. Ask God for wisdom how to deal with the situations that you're dealing with, and say, God, I need peace. And in order to get peace, I need to have wisdom granted to me generously. God bless you. I'm Bonitto Grange, your host today. Wisdom at the head, peace in the home. We'll talk again soon. God bless. Transforming your relationship every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's all about loving on purpose and the challenges that face us and how our relationship can be transformed. Are you feeling stuck in life or a loveless marriage? Let's journey together as you discover clarity, purpose, and fulfillment in life. I'm Bonitto Grange, your relationship and life coach. Why suffer in silence when help is right here? Let's connect for a 30 minutes complimentary session at www.tlcbonittogrange.com or right here on HGG Radio. Talk to you soon. God bless.